Adin Ross is done for. An NBA superstar just dumped him. Industry bosses allegedly stepped in, and then gunshots erupted. This whole situation has the internet spinning because what started as online beef just turned into a real-life emergency. Buckle up, this one's Doc. Everybody thought they knew the full story about Adin Ross versus Doechii. Streamer talks trash, female rapper gets disrespected, internet drama. Standard Tuesday online, right? Wrong. That was the version everyone repeated for exactly 48 hours. But now, leaked phone calls, canceled million-dollar deals, industry power moves, and a shooting involving someone close to Adin have surfaced. And suddenly, the whole narrative is twisting. This wasn't just internet beef. This was a career-ending chain reaction that allegedly triggered emergency interventions from some of the most powerful people in entertainment. And it all spiraled into something that can't be undone. Let me break this down from the beginning, because the details here are insane. Adin Ross went live, nothing unusual, but during this particular stream, he started making comments about Doechii, comments that crossed lines, disrespectful remarks, dismissive energy, the kind of content that gets clipped, reposted, and weaponized across every platform within minutes. And that's exactly what happened. Twitter exploded. TikTok went nuclear. Clips spread faster than wildfire. Folks online immediately started calling him out. But Adin, he doubled down. He laughed it off. He kept going. That was his first mistake. Now here's where it gets wild. According to Adin's own on-stream confession, and I'm talking about him admitting this live to thousands of viewers, he had a secret collaboration lined up with a, quote, very famous NBA star. Not just any player, a legitimate superstar, the kind of name that moves headlines. Adin hyped this stream for days, teased it, built anticipation. This was supposed to be a massive moment for his brand, the kind of crossover content that brings millions of eyeballs and legitimizes a streamer in mainstream sports circles. But then, radio silence. The stream never happened. And when Adin finally addressed it, he admitted the NBA players team pulled the plug at the last second, vaporized, canceled, gone. Why? Because Adin Ross had become too radioactive to touch. Think about that. A multi-million-dollar athlete with brand deals, endorsements, and a pristine public image allegedly told his PR team, nah, not touching this dude right now. That's not just canceled content. That's reputation damage on a level most influencers never experience. Fans online turned into investigators immediately. They started analyzing Adin's body language during the confession stream, slowing down frames, zooming in to his facial expressions. And folks swear you can see the exact moment reality hit him. The confidence cracked, the bravado faded. For a guy who built his empire on being untouchable online, this was a public humiliation. One of the biggest opportunities of his career deleted because of comments he made about a female artist. But wait. It gets even crazier, because the NBA deal getting axed, that was just the public fallout. Behind the scenes, whispers started circulating. Industry insiders began talking, and according to multiple reports, Top Dog Entertainment, one of the most powerful and feared labels in hip-hop, allegedly got involved. Yes, that TDE, the same label behind Kendrick Lamar, SZA, and Doechii herself. Sources claim TDE did not take kindly to Adin's disrespect, and when a label that powerful doesn't like what you're doing, they don't send cease and desist letters. They send people. Enter Wack 100. For anyone who doesn't know, Wack 100 is a music industry veteran, manager, and someone with deep connections across entertainment and street culture. He's the kind of figure who operates in the shadows but wields massive influence. And reportedly, Wack 100 made contact with Adin Ross's camp, not for a friendly chat, for a message, the kind of message that doesn't get ignored. Stand down, stop the disrespect, or face consequences that go beyond lost deals. This wasn't internet beef anymore. This was industry power flexing in ways the public rarely sees. Fans online went into overdrive. They dug through Wack 100's social media, found cryptic posts, compared timelines, and everything lined up. Fans started piecing together a theory that TDE had quietly mobilized to protect their artist and send a warning shot across the bow of influencer culture. The message was clear. You can't just disrespect people and hide behind a webcam, not when real power gets involved. And for Adin Ross, that realization hit fast, because suddenly his entire tone shifted.
The same dude who was swinging wildly online, laughing off backlash and acting invincible, he went live again, and this time he backpedaled hard, promised to stop disrespecting Doechii, said he was done with the comments, claimed he wanted to move forward. But here's the thing. It wasn't an apology, it wasn't accountability, it was a tactical retreat. The kind of move you make when you realize you're outgunned, when the consequences stopped being virtual and started being real. Fans immediately clocked it. This wasn't growth, this was fear. And just when everyone thought the story was wrapping up, Adin tried to control the narrative. He went live again and claimed the NBA deal was back on, said it was happening in 48 hours, tried to spin the whole situation as a minor hiccup. But there was one problem. No proof, no names, no receipts, no confirmation from the NBA players' camp. Nothing. Just Adin's word. And after everything that had already unfolded, people weren't buying it. Insiders immediately questioned whether this was a desperate face-saving move, a last-ditch attempt to salvage his credibility as it bled out in real time. Because let's keep it real, when you're scrambling that hard to convince people everything is fine, it usually means everything is not fine. The internet smelled blood in the water. Comment sections filled with skepticism, memes flooded timelines. Adin Ross, the once untouchable clout king who could laugh off anything, was suddenly drowning in doubt. His credibility shattered, his reputation in free fall, and the consequences, they were just getting started. Now let's get into the motive, because this is where everything starts clicking into place. Why would Adin Ross risk everything over comments about Doechii? Why push boundaries so recklessly? To understand that, you gotta understand where Adin's been and where he's trying to go, because this dude's been dealing with serious identity and relevance issues for a while now.
Think about it. Adin Ross exploded onto the streaming scene a few years ago. Collaborations with massive names, interviews with rappers, athletes, and even controversial political figures. At his peak, reports suggested he was pulling in millions per month through Kick streaming deals, donations, and sponsorships. He was the king of a certain corner of the internet, the guy everyone wanted to collab with because he brought eyeballs, lots of them. But here's the harsh reality of internet fame. It doesn't last unless you evolve. And Adin? He didn't evolve. He doubled down on the same content formula. Shock value, edgy commentary, controversial takes. And for a while, it worked. But slowly, the shine started fading. Other streamers rose. Platforms shifted. Audiences got bored. And Adin found himself in a position a lot of internet celebrities face, fighting to stay relevant in an ecosystem that moves at light speed. That kind of pressure does something to people. It makes them take bigger risks, push harder boundaries, say things they normally wouldn't say. Because when you've tasted the top and you feel yourself slipping, desperation kicks in. And desperation makes people reckless. That's exactly what we saw with the Doechii situation. Adin wasn't just making offhand comments, he was trying to create a moment, generate clips, go viral again, remind people he still had the juice. But he miscalculated badly. Meanwhile, Doechii is on a completely different trajectory. She's a rising star signed to one of the most respected labels in hip-hop. Critical acclaim, growing fan base, industry cosigns from legends. She's building something real, something sustainable. And when Adin made those disrespectful comments, he wasn't just punching at some random artist. He was punching up at someone the industry is protecting, someone with powerful backers who take disrespect personally. That's a fatal error in judgment. But there's another layer here: jealousy. It's hard to admit, but it's real. Adin Ross sees artists like Doechii getting mainstream respect, critical praise, and long-term career growth, while he's stuck in the same lane he's been in for years: streaming, reacting, controversial moments, no real expansion, no evolution. And that can spark some real envy fast, especially when you're used to being the center of attention, and suddenly, you're not. Put all that together: fading relevance, desperation for viral moments, jealousy toward rising stars, and a history of pushing boundaries without consequences, and it looks like the perfect recipe for a career-imploding disaster. Adin thought he was untouchable. He thought the rules didn't apply to him because they never had before. But this time, he poked the wrong people, and the consequences came swift. And it gets worse for him, because once you lose credibility in the influencer world, it's almost impossible to get it back. Brands distance themselves, collaborators ghost you, opportunities dry up, fans move on. Adin Ross went from being a hot commodity to a liability in a matter of days. And the scary part? This wasn't a slow decline. This was a free fall, a public, brutal, undeniable collapse triggered by his own actions. The NBA deal getting canceled was just the beginning. Think about how many other opportunities probably evaporated behind the scenes, how many DMs went unanswered, how many managers quietly said, "Not right now," how many brands pulled budget from potential partnerships. That's the invisible damage that happens when your reputation implodes. And for Adin Ross, that damage is massive. But here's the thing that really hits different. The Adin had everything: money, platform, access, influence, and he threw it away over ego, over wanting to go viral one more time, over not being able to resist punching down at someone he perceived as an easy target. That's not just a career mistake, that's a character flaw, and the internet doesn't forgive character flaws when they come with consequences this severe. So when people ask, why did Adin do this? The answer is painfully simple. He got desperate, he got jealous, he got reckless, and he forgot that in the real world, actions have real consequences. The internet isn't a playground anymore, it's a battlefield, and Adin just found out what happens when you step onto that battlefield unprepared and underestimate your opponents. You get destroyed. But here's the part that really hits different, the part that takes this from internet drama to something darker, the part that makes you realize this stopped being a game. Because while Adin Ross was dealing with canceled deals and industry pressure, someone close to him ended up in a terrifying, life-threatening situation, and that someone was Convy. For those who don't know, Convy is a content creator and close associate of Adin Ross. He's been part of Adin's circle for a while, shows up on streams, part of the crew. And according to reports and live footage, Convy was suddenly caught in a real-life shooting incident. Bullets allegedly fired at the vehicle he was riding in. Not a joke, not clickbait, actual gunfire. Adin was watching live when it happened, streaming, and when the news hit him in real time, the reaction was gut-wrenching. You could see it. The invincible streamer persona, gone. The jokes, silenced. The bravado, shattered. Adin looked visibly shaken, pale, quiet, processing something he clearly wasn't prepared to process. Because this wasn't a Twitter beef, this wasn't a lost deal, this was potential loss of life. Someone he knows, someone in his circle, caught in violence that, whether directly connected or not, happened in the same timeline as all this chaos. And that's messed up. That's the part that makes you step back and realize when you play with fire online, when you disrespect people connected to real power, when you treat everything like content, sometimes the flames spread. Sometimes innocent people get burned. Convy wasn't the one making disrespectful comments. He wasn't the one starting beef. But he's the one who ended up in a vehicle with bullets flying. That's somebody's friend, somebody's family member, and they're dealing with trauma over a situation they had nothing to do with.
The internet reacted with a mix of shock, sympathy, and honestly, a grim sense of inevitability. Because old clips resurfaced. Clips of Convy allegedly talking about going into dangerous areas for content. Clips that now feel haunting in hindsight. Viewers started connecting dots, started wondering if this was always heading towards something tragic, if the pursuit of virality and shock value was always going to end with real-world consequences this severe. And for Adin Ross, that moment was the breaking point. The moment he realized clout doesn't stop bullets. The moment he understood that the internet shield he thought protected him doesn't exist. Not when things escalate beyond screens, not when real danger enters the equation. You could see it in his face, the weight, the fear, the regret. This wasn't supposed to happen. None of this was supposed to be real, but it is. And now someone he cares about is traumatized, maybe worse. That hits different. That's the part of this story that transcends drama and becomes a cautionary tale. A reminder that words have power, actions have consequences, and sometimes those consequences are irreversible. The canceled NBA deal? Adin can recover from that. The industry blacklisting? He can maybe rebuild. But if someone had been seriously hurt or killed, that's something you carry forever. That's a weight that doesn't lift. And the saddest part? It was all preventable.
Every single step of this disaster, preventable. If Adin had just shown basic respect, if he'd thought before speaking, if he'd understood that not everything needs to be content, but he didn't. And now here we are, with trauma, with fear, with a close call that could have been a tragedy. That's the real story here. Not the beef, not the drama, the human cost. Now this whole situation gets even crazier when you realize just how fast everything unraveled. Because we're not just talking about one incident, we're talking about a cascading series of events that happened in rapid succession, each one worse than the last. And the evidence? It's everywhere. Clips, screenshots, leaked conversations, eyewitness accounts. Let me walk you through the timeline, because when you see it all laid out, it's chilling. First, the Doechii disrespect clips go viral. Within hours, they're on every platform. Twitter trending, TikTok flooded, Reddit threads dissecting every word. The backlash is immediate and massive. But Adin doesn't back down. He doubles down, laughs it off. That's day one. Day two, the NBA deal gets canceled. Adin admits it on stream, tries to downplay it, but you can see the cracks forming. Fans start speculating about who the NBA player was. Names get thrown around. Michael Porter Jr. becomes the leading theory based on, honestly, not much concrete evidence, but the internet runs with it anyway. And whether it's true or not, the damage is done, because now an actual NBA player's name is attached to this mess. His team has to do damage control. His PR has to address it. That's collateral damage spreading in real time. Day three, industry whispers start leaking. Insiders begin talking. And this is where things get really interesting, because the sources aren't just random gossip accounts. These are people with verified connections to the music industry. And they're all saying the same thing. TDE got involved. 100 made contact. The message was delivered. And Adin's sudden shift in tone? That wasn't coincidence. That was a direct response to pressure most people will never see publicly. Fans online went full detective mode at this point. They started cross-referencing timestamps, comparing Adin's stream schedule to 100's social media activity, looking for patterns, and they found them. Posts from 100 that seemed to reference the situation, cryptic language, indirect warnings, nothing explicit, but enough to connect dots. And when you lay it all out on a timeline, the correlation is impossible to ignore. Something happened behind the scenes, something that made Adin immediately change his behavior. But here's where the evidence gets even more compelling. Multiple sources reported that Adin received phone calls during this period. Not casual calls, urgent calls, the kind that make you stop streaming mid-session, the kind that change your entire demeanor. Fans clipped moments where Adin suddenly went quiet, checked his phone, and came back to stream with a completely different energy. One moment he's joking around. Next moment, he's serious, subdued, shook. That's not acting, that's real fear. And then the shooting incident with Convy happens. The timing alone is suspicious to a lot of people. Not saying they're connected directly, but the perception is there. The internet immediately started theorizing. Was this retaliation? A warning? A tragic coincidence? Nobody knows for sure. But what is certain is that Adin Ross's world went from internet drama to real-world danger in less than a week. That's not normal. That's an escalation that should terrify anyone paying attention.
Now let's talk about Adin's attempt to salvage his reputation. The claim that the NBA deal was back on. Fans immediately started digging. If the deal was really back on, there'd be some kind of confirmation, right? A social media post from the players' camp, a leak from a reputable source, something. But there was nothing. Radio silence. And that silence speaks volumes, because if the deal was legitimately back on, you better believe Adin would have receipts, screenshots, DMs, something to prove it. But he had nothing, just his word. And at that point, his word was worth less than nothing. Online investigators even started reaching out to insiders connected to the NBA players team. And according to multiple reports, those insiders had no idea what Adin was talking about. No deal was back on, no communication had been reestablished. Adin was making it up, or at the very least, wildly exaggerating. And that's when his credibility completely collapsed. Because it's one thing to make a mistake, it's another thing to lie about it publicly while people are fact-checking you in real time. The evidence paints a clear picture. Adin Ross disrespected the wrong person. Industry power got involved. He got scared, tried to backpedal, lost a major opportunity, lied about getting it back, and then someone close to him ended up in a shooting incident that, whether connected or not, happened during the worst possible timing.
Each piece of evidence builds on the last. Each new development makes the situation darker, and all of it is documented, time-stamped, cross-referenced. There's no escaping it. And here's the thing that really seals it. Adin's behavior changed permanently after this. He stopped making reckless comments, toned down his content, started being more careful. That's not growth, that's learned fear. When someone changes their behavior that drastically, that quickly, it's because they learned a lesson they'll never forget. And the lesson Adin learned was simple. You're not untouchable. The internet can't protect you. And some people, you just don't disrespect. Period. Meanwhile, as this entire saga was unfolding, the broader internet community started reflecting on similar situations. Because Adin Ross isn't the first influencer to cross a line and face real consequences, and he definitely won't be the last. But his case is becoming a landmark example of what happens when online behavior collides with real-world power structures. Let's talk about the pattern we've seen over the past few years. Influencer culture has created this bubble where people feel invincible. They say whatever they want, disrespect whoever they want, push boundaries constantly, and for a while, it works. They go viral, get attention, build audiences, make money, but eventually, reality catches up, and when it does, the fall is brutal. We've seen it with other streamers who got too comfortable, made comments they couldn't take back, faced legal issues, lost sponsorships, got deplatformed. The stories are everywhere if you know where to look. But Adin's case is unique because of the industry involvement. Most influencer drama stays within the digital space. Brands pull out, audiences turn, platforms enforce TOS, but Adin allegedly triggered a response from actual music industry power players. That's a different level. That's crossing into territory where the rules are very different. And honestly, the entertainment industry has always operated this way. Respect matters, reputation matters, and when you disrespect someone under the protection of powerful entities, you get dealt with. The difference is, now it's happening in public view because everything is documented online. But the mechanisms, they've been in place for decades. Adin just stumbled into them without realizing what he was walking into. Fans started digging into TDE's history, how they've protected their artists before, how they've handled disrespect in the past, and the pattern is clear. They don't play. They don't issue public statements. They handle things quietly and effectively. And by all accounts, that's exactly what happened here. Quiet pressure, behind-the-scenes moves, and a message delivered with enough force that Adin completely changed his behavior overnight. But let's also talk about Doechii's side of this, because she handled the situation with pure class. She didn't engage in the back and forth, didn't give Adin the attention she was clearly seeking, didn't descend into the mud. She let her team handle it, let the industry handle it, and kept focusing on her music and career. That's the mark of someone who understands the game, someone who knows that silence backed by power is more effective than any Twitter clapback. And honestly, she won this situation without ever having to fight publicly. That's how you know who has real support behind them. The Convy shooting incident also opened up a broader conversation about content creation and risk, because more and more creators are putting themselves in dangerous situations for views, going into unsafe areas, antagonizing the wrong people, chasing viral moments without considering consequences. In Convy's situation, whether directly related to Adin's drama or not, is a stark reminder that those risks are real. Content isn't worth your life. Clout isn't worth trauma. And yet, creators keep pushing, keep risking, keep treating danger like entertainment, until something happens that can't be undone.
People online started sharing their own stories. Times they saw creators take things too far. Times they witnessed situations that could have gone wrong. And the thread connecting all of them? A fundamental misunderstanding of where the line between digital and real actually exists. Adin thought he was operating in a digital space with digital consequences, but he triggered real people with real power in the real world, and that's where everything fell apart. This story also sparked debates about accountability in influencer culture, because let's keep it real, Adin's apology wasn't really an apology, it was a retreat. And even that only happened after he faced serious consequences. There was no genuine reflection, no understanding of why his comments were harmful, just damage control. And that's a problem that extends far beyond Adin Ross. How many influencers actually take accountability versus just managing optics? How many actually learn versus just waiting for the heat to die down?
The answer? Not many. Because the incentive structure of internet fame doesn't reward growth, it rewards engagement. And controversy drives engagement, so creators keep pushing boundaries until they hit a wall. And sometimes that wall is a canceled deal, sometimes it's a deplatforming, and sometimes it's something much worse. Adin Ross hit that wall at full speed, and the wreckage is still unfolding. And this story is still unfolding with way bigger implications than just one influencer's career collapse. What we're seeing here is a fundamental shift in how internet fame intersects with real-world power. For years, influencers operated in a separate ecosystem, different rules, different consequences. But that separation is dissolving fast, and the Adin Ross situation is a perfect case study of what happens when those worlds collide. The bigger conversation is about responsibility in the digital age. When you have millions of followers, when you have a platform, when you have influence, you're not just an entertainer anymore. You're wielding power, and with power comes accountability. Adin thought he could say whatever he wanted because he'd always gotten away with it before, but the landscape has changed. Audiences are less tolerant, industries are more protective of their people, and consequences are real. When you constantly disrespect people for content, when you treat human beings like engagement bait, when you weaponize your platform for viral moments, you're not just creating entertainment, you're unintentionally declaring war on people who might have resources to fight back, resources you don't have. Adin Ross's situation is a wild example, but it's also a warning for anybody with a platform. The more you push, the more you disrespect, the more you treat boundaries like suggestions, the higher the risk that you'll cross the wrong person at the wrong time. And let's talk about the industry's role here, because TDE's alleged involvement, if true, sends a clear message to the entire influencer community. You can't just disrespect artists and hide behind "it's just content." There are people watching, people who protect their investments, and if you become a problem, you get handled. That's not a threat, that's just reality. The entertainment industry has operated this way forever. Influencers are just now finding out they're not exempt from those rules. This also raises questions about platform responsibility. Where was Kick during all this? Where were the content moderators, the community guidelines enforcement? Because here's the harsh truth. Platforms profit from controversial content. They profit from creators like Adin pushing boundaries. But when those boundaries get crossed and real consequences happen, platforms distance themselves, claim they're just neutral hosts. But they're not neutral, they're complicit. They built the systems that reward this behavior and then act shocked when it goes too far. The Adin Ross saga is a microcosm of everything wrong with how we've structured internet fame. We reward shock value. We incentivize disrespect. We gamify human conflict. We turn controversy into currency. And then we're surprised when someone gets hurt, when careers collapse, when real-world violence enters the equation. It's not surprising. It's inevitable. This was always going to happen. The only question was who and when. And for other influencers watching this unfold, the lesson is simple. Respect matters. Boundaries matter. And the internet is not a shield. You can't just say and do whatever you want without consequences. The old rules might have allowed that, but the new reality is accountability, whether you like it or not, whether you're ready for it or not. The walls between digital and real are crumbling, and when they fully collapse, a lot of creators are going to find themselves very exposed. Adin Ross thought he was untouchable. He was wrong. And his collapse is a warning shot to everyone else operating under the same delusion. The game has changed. Either adapt or get left behind. Either show respect or face consequences. Because the internet doesn't forget. Industries don't forgive. And real-world power, it always wins. So where does Adin Ross go from here? That's the question everyone's asking. Because his career isn't just damaged, it's in free fall. The NBA deal, gone. Industry relationships, burned. Credibility shattered, trust non-existent, and someone close to him ended up in a shooting incident during the worst possible timing. That's not a rough patch, that's a collapse.
Some people think he can recover, rebuild his brand, lay low for a while and come back with a new approach, apologize genuinely, show growth, demonstrate that he's learned, and maybe there's a path back. But honestly, that feels optimistic. Because the internet doesn't really forgive, not fully. And the industry, they have long memories. Once you're marked as a liability, that label sticks. Others think this is the beginning of the end, that Adin's relevance will continue to decline. Other streamers will fill the void. audiences will move on. Opportunities will dry up completely. And in 6 months, a year, maybe 2, he'll be a cautionary tale people reference but don't really remember. Just another influencer who flew too close to the sun and got burned. And based on the trajectory we've seen, that feels more likely. But here's what's really haunting about this whole situation: the shooting involving Convy. Because whether it was directly connected to the Doechii drama or not, the timing is impossible to ignore. And if there is a connection, even an indirect one, that means Adin's actions had consequences that extended beyond his own career. That means someone else paid a price for his mistakes. And that's something you can't just apologize away. That's a weight that stays with you. Speculation is running wild online. Some think TDE sent a message that went too far. Others think it was completely unrelated coincidence. Some believe there are layers to this story we'll never know publicly. And honestly, they're probably right, because the real power moves happen in shadows. The real consequences happen behind closed doors. What we see publicly, that's just the surface, the tip of the iceberg, the part they allow us to see. And maybe that's the scariest part of this whole saga. We don't actually know how deep this goes. We don't know what conversations happened, what threats were made, what deals were struck. We just know that a pattern of behavior led to a catastrophic series of events in rapid succession. And connecting those dots, it paints a dark picture. Adin Ross went from clout god to cautionary tale in days, from untouchable to radioactive, from millions of opportunities to industry pariah, all because he couldn't show basic respect, all because he thought the rules didn't apply to him, all because he treated people like content instead of human beings. And now he's living with consequences that may have cost someone their safety, maybe their life. That's not drama, that's tragedy. So what's next? We wait, we watch. We see if Adin can actually rebuild or if this is truly the end. We see if more details emerge about what really happened behind the scenes. We see if the shooting incident leads anywhere or remains an unsolved, haunting question mark. And most importantly, we see if other influencers learn from this or if we see the exact same pattern play out again in 6 months with a different name. Because history says they won't learn. But maybe, just maybe, this time will be different. And let me ask you this too. Do you think TDE actually got involved the way people are saying? Or is that just internet speculation running wild? Do you think the NBA players team really canceled that deal because of the Doechii comments, or was there something else going on? And do you think Adin was lying about the deal being back on, or was he just desperately hoping it was true? These are the questions that matter. These are the debates we need to have. Because at the end of the day, this story is about more than just Adin Ross. It's about the entire influencer ecosystem. It's about what happens when digital fame meets real-world power. It's about accountability, responsibility, consequences, and whether anything actually matters anymore or if we're all just watching chaos unfold for entertainment until someone gets seriously hurt. Make sure you like this video because this breakdown took hours of research, cross-referencing timelines and analyzing evidence that most people will never see. Hit that subscribe button if you want more deep dives into celebrity drama that goes beyond the surface-level headlines, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss a single update as this story continues to develop. Because trust me, we're not done here. More is coming. More always comes. I appreciate every single one of you for rocking with me, for watching all the way to the end, and for caring about the truth behind these stories instead of just consuming clickbait. You're the real ones. And I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there, keep your head on the swivel, and remember, the internet might feel like a game, but the consequences, they're real, and sometimes they're permanent. Peace.